The Franschoek Literary Festival is a three-day celebration of reading and writing held in the picturesque Franschoek Valley. The FLF attracts hundreds of authors who take part in lectures, panel discussions and interactive sessions with readers on themes ranging from crime literature to the publication of cooking books.
What we do is we start well over a year ahead. We speak to publishers to find out what new books are coming out. And the themes of the actual events are dependent on the books that are available, dependent on people who are writing the same kind of book, or who can argue with each other, or who can feed off each other. So it's about conversations.
I think it's extremely important. You know, it's like the Arts Festival in Grahamstown has done so much to promote knowledge of the arts, awareness of the arts, and to increase the amount of people who can get involved from an audience point of view. And I think that the Franschoek Festival does exactly the same thing from a literary point of view, where there's a lot of very interesting stuff going on, and it increases the audience of people I'm hoping who are going to read books generally throughout South Africa. Yeah.
This year's festival included several noted international authors, including the #1 ladies detective agency writer Alexander McCall-Smith. However, the focus is on promoting established as well as upcoming South African authors.
I do think we have fantastic publishers in South Africa. I think we have wonderful writers. What we do lack is people who buy the books, because as an author of books in South Africa today, it is very hard to earn a living. A book doesn't sell in huge numbers and it doesn't pay. So people who are writing the books are people with a passion for writing. People say that South African readers love to read overseas books. They like to read bestsellers from overseas, and they're not looking at our local authors. And that is one of the things we're trying to address at this literary festival, is the local authors to bring their voices here so people learn about them.
The FLF takes a strong angle towards encouraging younger readers to take up the hobby. Proceeds from ticket sales at the festival will go towards equipping a number of local school libraries.
Now we are creating a library fund. It's called the FLF Library Fund, and at the moment we're using that fund to pay a qualified librarian to work in 5 local government schools, 4 at the moment, and we are putting lots of books into the schools in Afrikaans and Xhosa as well as English. So one of our main focuses at the moment is to get our kids in our valley reading and excited about books. And that's starting to work, because during the week that leads up to the festival, we have something like 47 authors going into the classrooms, every classroom in the valley. So around 4,500 children in the valley hear a writer talking or telling stories.
Aside from the in-school events leading up to the festival weekend, the FLF encourages scholar attendance at the sessions and tailors discussions to appeal to a younger generation by incorporating technology and social media for audience participation.
Well, I think that children today live in a world of great opportunity. You know, I was saying in the hall, when I was a kid, the only place I could get information was to go to a library, and I used to be called a bookworm. You know, and it was considered something of a compliment that you read so many books or whatever. In this day and age, everything that fitted into that library, you know, a couple of thousand books, you can fit on a single Kindle, which has battery life for 2 weeks, you can use in just about any circumstance. And the internet is this vast resource that anybody can access. The Khan Academy is just brilliant. You have you know, video tutorials, you have a whole bunch of things. There's sites like TED.com. You can listen to some of the greatest people in the world do what is kind of non-traditional education. They're just going to talk about something that they're an expert in, that they're passionate about, that they want people to know about. And the thing is that where education was very much restricted to being done in a classroom, very much in the same way that we used to think of work as some place you went to, as opposed to what we do now, which is something you do. You can do it anywhere, on a laptop, on a smartphone, anywhere. The same is true of education. You don't have to go to a classroom to be educated. You don't, you know, you can educate yourself. There's a misconception that, you know, once you finish school, you've got an education. Well, you've got a formal education to a certain level, same with university or anything else. And what you need to do is educate yourself. And that's the inquiring, curious mind of a